But what I wanted to touch bases on is the fact that you actually have men that can be attracted to this weight, not just put up with her weight, but he's genuinely attracted to her.
At 300
not just for her
pounds,
weight.
That's a fetish. At 300 pounds, that's a fetish.
You got me speechless because, I mean, I can't say that it's not a fetish, but I think that what makes a fetish is this is the only type you would deal with. If this is the only, if you wouldn't deal with a smaller girl because she's not 300 plus pounds, I think that would make it a fetish. But I have actually seen people who have done with smaller women and, but they still gravitate back to the larger woman, and not just because of her weight, but because of a lot of qualities that come with the woman of a larger size. Like my uncle always said to me, I never have to be hungry. She's always cooking. It's always some cooking. They cater to their man. They're very humble, so he's drawn to other qualities outside of her weight. But at the same time, he's still genuinely attracted to the person. It's not like he's looking at her like, oh.
Wait. Don't lose the point. You said he's generally attracted to other qualities, right?
Right.
What if he could get those other qualities, all those other qualities, in the same amount from a person who wasn't 300 pounds? See, what I hear you saying is he can't get all of that from a person who's not 300 pounds. Or he's having trouble finding a person like that who gives him all those things, feeds him, has the food, is humble, let him come and go, do whatever it is that he's getting from that 300-pound woman. He ain't getting all those things in one package from a woman who's not 300 pounds. You didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe that's not it. And as far as fetishes are concerned, people don't have to satisfy their fetish all through one person. That's what makes it a fetish. You can have a foot fetish, a weight fetish, any type of fetish you have, and satisfy that outside of your regular relationship, because your regular relationship brings you other things. This particular, we're talking about somebody who is only attracted to 300-plus pound women, but they can get everything they get, the humbleness, the support, not giving them drama, cook what they want, let them pretty much do whatever they want from a woman who's not 300 pounds, and yet still they will walk right past every one of those women, even if they're beautiful, attractive, and give them all that to get to that 300-pound woman. To me, that's a fetish. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that's what I think.
Right. And I can see why you say that. So, let's just use a statement perhaps my uncle has used with me before. He has said to me that, these young girls, they just want too much. And, these girls that find themselves very attractive, they big-headed and blah, blah, blah. He said now to him, he can appreciate a big girl, okay? And he has also said not only can he appreciate her, he finds himself attracted to her. It's not like he's like, oh, now I have to lay down with her. Like, he looks forward to it. He can appreciate a big girl. But I just question if this is a fetish of his over him just, he can appreciate a bigger girl because of his experiences. You know what I mean? So that's why I never really looked at it as a fetish. I just thought like, oh, you do have guys out here that can appreciate a big girl. Like I said, now we're not talking about just any big girl. Now let's just throw an example out far as like big girls. Monique, the actress was a big girl. She's cutting down her weight. She's much smaller now, but she was a big girl. And you know how she used to put herself together. She was still attractive, right? We use, what's her name? Liza, what's her name? Izzo. Lizzo. Now you have a person like her who puts herself together. Some men may still find her attractive even though she is a big girl. So I'm just saying, we're not just talking about you have those big girls, sorry girls, but you have those big girls who doesn't take care of themselves and they just letting everything out. Yes, that is hard to be attracted to. But what about the ones who do make themselves up, put themselves together, and, got the pretty faces and they put their bodies together and stuff, they can still be considered attractive, right? I don't think that it takes a man with a fetish to only find them attractive. Is the point.
You keep going past the point when you come back to the big girls and your description of them. You gave two examples of people, right? Monique and Liz. Guess what they got in common?
They got money, huh?
No, they're millionaires. Stop. They are millionaires. If a woman has a job making $110,000 a year, she quote unquote got money. But that ain't the category they in. They millionaires. They can decide right now, wherever they are, unless they're doing a project, I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to New York. I want to go to the island. And I'm taking everybody in this little sphere with me, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 of y'all. If y'all can go, everything on me. That's what they got going on. And in the category of Monique, she let her husband have other relationships of a sexual nature outside of their relationship. How many other women are going to do that for a man?
This is true.
Well, hold on. We're not talking about they're millionaires. They have that lifestyle. You got to incorporate all of that in there. It ain't just a 300-pound plus woman who's average in every other way. You're talking about they're in the top 1% of 1% of all women on earth. When you're a multimillionaire and living a lifestyle like that, they're not even multimillionaires who have to work 16 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week. They're multimillionaires that have a bunch of free time when they want it. They can manipulate their schedules like that. Those are the type of things, when you're bringing that much to the table, it doesn't make your weight attractive. It makes your weight acceptable because you're adding all that into the package you're presenting to a man. Come on now. You can't just start talking about, they keep themselves up. That's not enough.
I just still think that it's something beautiful.
At the other quality, because if he was a multi-millionaire and money was no object, he might deal with some of them younger girls because what they ask for would be nothing. That would be like you exchanging $5 with a friend of yours, and they swear they'll pay it back and all. What I need it back for? It's yours. If he could do money like that because he was that loaded, he'd have a different impression of dealing with them young girls because it wouldn't tax his resources. His resources might be so massive that basically buying a car would be nothing. And he could do that. Now, that would mean he'd look at those young girls in a totally different way than he looks at them now because his resources are probably, I don't know him, but I'm guessing they're probably not unlimited. So that means he's looking for somebody who doesn't tax him like that because he's in a different area. He's not the same as somebody with unlimited resources. That's why you can't just look at a person and saying they will accept a big girl, like a big girl, love a big girl, be with a big girl, and not look at all the surrounding circumstances. I'm saying everything else being equal. Everything else being equal. The only two differences is one person looks like a model, a fitness model, and the other person is 300 plus pounds. Every other thing about them is exactly the same. I'm telling you, if the person in those circumstances and both those women are equally attracted to this guy and he still chooses a 300 plus pound person, that's a fetish.
Okay, so you heard of Jennifer Hudson, correct?
Who?
Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah,
she's a singer from here who lost her family.
Wait. She was 300 plus pounds?
Yes, at one time. Now listen to this. She's married.
I don't think she was that, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, she's shorter, so she still fits the same mock-up of being a big girl.
No, we're talking about 300 plus pounds. It's possible.
I think at some point she was when she first.
Plus pounds. It's possible to be 300 plus pounds at a woman at 5'1". And I don't think she was ever that big. I tell you.
Nah, she wasn't. She wasn't that.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't put her in the category. Now you're trying to stretch and put somebody.
No, I wanted to just use her as. I just wanted to.
No, we're only talking about women that are 300 plus pounds, not women that are just overweight. That's a different category.
Well, her husband left her when she started to lose weight. Okay, because he liked her the way she was. He was attracted to her as she was. So when she began to lose weight.
said. I don't believe that. That goes back to a former conversation of another video. And everybody out there listening, check out our other podcasts. We have more than this. Go ahead.
But I think you proved your point. I think that there's a lot of people out here that, you know, they're specific about specific things that will fall in the range of a fetish. I was just saying that I still think that it is something to be loved about even the big girls. I think that they still have a particular, they still can be beautiful. They still can be attractive as well.
To who? To another woman?
Somebody out here for everybody. Everybody needs
love. To another woman, sure. Because you have that mindset of supporting your gender, and you should. But to a man, it ain't working the same way. That's why you ain't going to have the majority of men with anywhere near that mindset. Nowhere near.
And I think like in Africa, is it Africa?
We're not talking about Africa. Now you can't.
But you know they love big girls.
Yes, we're not there. We're talking about American girls and American. You can't go to. You can say, well, if I went to the moon, there may be a moon person up there, and they just love them some 600-pound women, because up there, you know, there's no gravity. Come on, man. We have to use realistic standards in our evaluation. We have to, because if you start trying to, you know, go out and make it more of an unrealistic situation, there's always an exception. And even going back to Jennifer Hudson, see, because he said it doesn't mean that's why he left. That just means that's what he said. I look at the analysis and I come up with my own conclusion, and part of my analysis is what a person said. That don't mean I believe it. I don't even know him. So how can I say he's a truthful person?
Well, I would only... Yeah,
you're going by what he said. You're going by what he
said. And just to show that there might be...
No, that just shows that he said it. In my opinion, when you leave somebody, you either don't like them anymore or you got as much from them as you can get, and now you're looking to get something from another person, whatever that is, because you can't get any more from them. That's the reason a lot of people leave each other. So if that's the reason I know a lot of people leave each other, why should I believe that's why he left her? That's only 10% of the analysis, maybe 20%. There's another 80% we don't know. All we know is that's what he said.
All right. It's just something to show that there might be men out here that genuinely don't mind a big girl, and that they can still be just as turned on by her as they would be a smaller girl. It's really all that I was really trying to say with using the Jennifer Hudson situation. That I guess the fact that that's their preference makes that a fetish, I guess.
Well, fetish of some people to only deal with women that have a whole lot of money. So if that's your preference, that might even be a fetish. Fetish doesn't mean you are so attracted to that that's the one thing you go for. But some people would say, oh, that's not a fetish. Well, it depends on how you really define fetish. I define fetish as that is the most attractive thing. That other things are secondary. That don't mean that other things aren't attractive, but everything is secondary to that. Everything. Every other human quality a person can possess is secondary to the thing you really go for. That makes it a fetish to me.
Yeah, so, maybe it is a fetish, but I just think the big girls need love too, and you have some really...
They're going to have to get it from somebody who's looking at them as satisfying that fetish. But what difference does that make? They still getting it.
I know, but nobody wants to feel like they're a part of a fetish. Nobody wants that. I mean, I just don't think nobody wants that. People want to be appreciated for who they are, and people want to be loved and liked for who they are. Not because
300-pound woman, and that is their main quality this guy's going after. So what?
That would be now putting it like that would be a fetish.
Say what?
I say putting it like that in that content, that would be a fetish if that's all he went for. But I'm talking about there's
also for the number one thing, the deal breaker, the thing she has to be above anything else.
Yes. To me, that is like a bit of a fetish. Like
for it to happen. If you ain't 300+ pounds, you can be gorgeous, rich, humble, a virgin, want children, want whatever you want, stay at home, go to work, whatever you want is what I'll do. Similar to that Eddie Murphy movie when the woman was going to be his wife, and she was groomed from birth to be anything he wanted. A guy could have that. And if he still wants a 300-pound woman with all that, that means that's a fetish to me about weight.
Yeah.
Because that's first and foremost. Everything else is secondary. And most of the time, everything else isn't secondary. Most of the time, other stuff is more important. And what you do is accept the weight. And once you accept it, yeah, you can love, you can be attracted to it, you can be stimulated by it because it's part of the whole package.
That's all I wanted to get to. Aha, there we have arrived. That's all I was saying. I think it is a fetish if that's all, like above all, I need you to be at least 300 pounds. That would be a fetish. But what if you just find yourself going back and forth with a young lady and she happens to be 300 plus pounds? Would that be a deal breaker because she's 300 plus pounds? Although you've seen all of these great qualities in her, she's made you feel good, you genuinely are like this person. But because you can't see past her weight, it's a deal breaker. That's all I was saying. It's actually men that will, I guess that is looking past the weight. But at the same time, they end up falling in love with it. So it's not like they're just putting up with her. They genuinely love this person and are drawn and attracted to this person. May she be 300 plus pounds or not? I just think that's a special kind of dude.
Well, let me just comment on one more thing, and then we can wrap it up. Trying to be sensitive to time, y'all. Everybody out here listening to this podcast, we love y'all, but we got to be sensitive to time. So there's always going to be a middle, beginning, and there's going to be an end. We're coming close to the end. So, having said that, when you see someone as a man, you don't know what they're about unless you know them, you work with them, you live near them. Somebody who knows them introduces you. They're coming with a resume in that case. I'm talking about this distraction that you see a stranger walking down the street. If you feel the need to go up and start a conversation with that stranger, not knowing anything about them, only the visual of what you see at that time is important. And if a 300-pound woman who is a total stranger in every way to that man, and that man comes up and starts a conversation with her, that man probably got a fetish.
I would agree with you on that note. Now,
because that's all you know. Once he gets to know somebody, yeah, there are going to be things about you that draw you closer to them or repel you from them. That's why pretty women sometimes can be alone because maybe they're too arrogant. Maybe they're too hard to get along with. Maybe they're too demanding. Maybe their expectation somebody's going to do is too high. But they're going to get approached, and then the person is repelled by getting to know her. The 300-pound woman rarely is going to get, if at all, approached by somebody other than somebody that has a fetish / some sort of super preference for 300-pound women. Not oversized women, not fat women, obese, 300-plus pounds. That's why those words are different, because there's a different size component to each one. We're talking about 300 pounds. The only way you get a lot more than 300 pounds is you pretty much are either bedridden or you basically are about to die.
Well, you could be a really tall girl.
I don't care if you're tall. If you're 300 pounds, you're probably overweight.
Yeah, you're overweight, but you might not be looking like obese, bedridden.
You're going to be bedridden no matter what height if you're basically 300 way plus pounds. Even if you're a man and you're that big, your joints can't take it. You might not be bedridden at 20, but you ain't going to make it past 32 before you're walking around in a wheelchair. The body's not made for it.
We should have probably kept it to like 200, 275 pounds, something like that. But
you basically are going to want to keep coming down because once you start losing the weight, now you put yourself in the category of a smaller woman. Now you might be approached by people who don't even realize you used to be that big because you can't tell. Because as you start coming down, that's what people see. Unless you're famous, don't nobody know you were that big at one time. They just know what they see currently. And if you start getting approached as a single woman from more strangers, men that you find attractive, that's going to encourage you to lose more weight. But A lot of times it's just easier to try to get somebody who's overwhelmed with the fetish and be 300 pounds and just be comfortable with that, because you find that one person that will accept it with your other qualities now that they got to know you. Because that don't take effort. It takes effort to start losing weight when you're 300 pounds. If fetish is not a word you like, you can put a preference, a predilection, something that basically is so overwhelming in your mind and your thoughts that that's what you want. Everything else is secondary. And a man with options is not going to start with, I want a woman 300 pounds. Even though you see men that end up there, you got to see where that journey started and ended up with that woman with 300 pounds. And a lot of that is going to be, they tried other women smaller, that didn't work out. They either couldn't get those women, or those women had so much that they considered negative, they started saying, no, this is not for me, I'm really upset. They end up knowing a 300-pound woman before they even think they like her. They start knowing things about her. Some kind of way they make a connection that has nothing to do with, I think she's attractive because she's 300 pounds. And I start to like those other things, and it accommodates for the weight. And as you like that person for other things, that's where the love grows. That's where the attraction grows. The attraction doesn't go from the 300 pounds. That's part of the package you'd rather not have. But because it's a package deal, you can't separate them. And in your mind, then you say, well, if this is what he comes in, I can love that. But that's not where you start. That's where you finish.
All right. And with that, on that note, I would agree. And I think that it just takes a special kind of person to really appreciate a person for who they are, no matter what size they are. So there you have it, you guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to the big girls.